That's just my lame attempt of trying to be fun. I don't know about you guys, but maybe you heard about Miss Martinez and Miss James, like, doing funny things in their videos. Like, I mean, Miss Martinez has a baby and Miss James has a cat. Miss Martinez also has a cat. I don't have very many things because I end up indirectly killing animals. Alright, anyway. I mean, good way for me to make things awkward, right? But anyway, happy to see you guys again virtually. Um, and the reason why I picked one more time is because today is the last text that I am going to use for this unit. So hopefully you're very excited about that. And hopefully, in some ways, you've enjoyed or found some of the texts that we've read interesting. Yes, some of them were challenging. Yes, some of them were like, what the heck? But hey, we're at the finish line. And congrats for those of you who've read or attempted all seven texts thus far. And if you're still catching up, no worries. I get it. Everybody has different lives and different situations. Just as long as you're persevering somehow. So, in any case, I'm trying things a little differently as well. As you can see, you're not in an Edpuzzle. Hopefully, some of you are happy about that. Rather, you're probably looking at this through a Google form, or you should be looking at this through a Google form. Um, Trying to change things up just a little bit, and make sure that you have all your materials in one place versus Edpuzzles and having to go to um, Common Lit or Google Classroom, etc. So I'm trying to make things really, really simple, and easier to manage. I hear a lot of people are kind of stressed out because there's so many links, and uh, it's a learning experience for me too. Still, even though we've been in this for a while, so bear with me. All right, off my tangent. As you can see, for the very last time, or one of the last times, we will revisit this question of how we evaluate what's right or wrong. So, all the texts we've been talking about have to deal with this idea of morality. And speaking of morality, it's kind of in the title of this text. And this text is also different in that it's actually an interview. And so the great news is it's probably the shortest text we'll read. And it's not quite a text because it's rather a transcript, but it just so happens to be written out like a text in Common Lit. So hopefully, the way I'm teaching this makes a lot more sense and is a lot more streamlined and straightforward rather than having to click through different places. So, the title of this interview is called For Many Returning Vets, Moral Injury is Just as Difficult. So, this is actually taken from NPR, National Public Radio. I don't know if any of you are really into podcasts or anything like that, but it's a very popular podcast. There's a very active website in which they not only pair articles, but they also give some kind of audio that basically reads it aloud to you or gives extra context or both. So if you're interested, by all means, check it out. A lot of college professors use it, so that might also be another entrance point for you. And furthermore, just a lot of really knowledgeable and intelligent citizens use it. You can ask Miss Palmer, Mr. Bartlett, I think Mr. Lafarge, but yeah, pretty much the far smartest people I know are NPR fans. But in any case, so to boil in a nutshell, this text, this interview, it's about this Marine captain. His name is Timothy Kudo, and he talks about his experience fighting in Afghanistan. And based on the title, you can tell, hopefully, that, yes, as a war veteran, he's suffered a lot of physical trauma, but maybe you've also heard of the idea of PTSD. And so there's the idea of moral injury as well. So, some essential vocabulary, or just one piece of essential vocabulary that's really important to help root yourself in this text, is the idea of moral injury based on the title. So, like an injury, you can see here, an injury is basically something that you're suffering from. It's typically a physical, like whether you're bleeding or whether you have a scar or like some kind of physical pain or throbbing that you're feeling. But moral injury is this idea of having an emotional or mental scar instead of a physical one. And arguably, those emotional or mental struggles are more painful and more difficult to deal with and cope with than physical ones. So, as you can see from this little graphic I have here, as I mentioned, PTSD, post traumatic stress disorder, sometimes, especially soldiers, but it's not just for soldiers. But in any case, sometimes people suffer these incredibly traumatizing situations that they literally can't forget about it, even if they wanted to. And when it comes to soldiers specifically, especially since that's what we're talking about in this text, it's the idea of, well, yeah, as a soldier, like their job is to kill people or like cause pain in order to win a war for a country. So that idea of moral injury comes into place when maybe you regret killing those people or causing harm to people, especially like if you have no idea if they're innocent or not. But in any case, hopefully that gives you some context about what we're going to read today. So, feel free to go into Common Lit and look at the text if you'd like. If it feels better for you to annotate through anything and take notes. But for now, I'm going to stop this video and actually show you an audio recording of the interview rather than me trying to simulate two different voices. And rather than you guys relying on the robotic sound of the Common Lit voice. So hopefully you find this useful.